Hello everyone, welcome to Food Feeds. So this is the third class of Junior Food Analyst ANMRB. So I hope that the previous two classes might help you study this subject better. Okay, so let's get into the third chapter. See, in this third chapter, we are going to see about three important topics, which is preservation, processing, and packaging. So these three are the topics of chapter 3. So, like, how to study this topic first of all? See, this topic carries only 5% of weightage, which means it is not so important like other chapters. Okay, that does not mean you have to skip this chapter. You don't need to study this chapter in depth. Okay, so you don't need to study the calculations. These are the things you can avoid. Okay, so since it is mentioned as 5%, we can expect minimum 10 questions from this chapter. Okay, so overall 10 questions can come from this chapter 3. So what are the books you can refer to? The one perfect book which you can refer to is The Food Processing by PJ Ferris. Obviously, like if you have some other preference, you can go for it. This is my suggestion. Okay, so the next is what are the important topics under the specific chapter? See, this chapter 3 is it's really vast and wide. There are so many important topics. But in almost all the examinations, these topics has been repeated. So that's why we have given these topics. First is radiation. So it can be radiation, UV, and many other radiation related topics are there, right? You have to study that. So that is a sure question. It will definitely come. Second one is non-thermal methods. Then pasteurization, then blanching, then cap and map. So these are some of the important topics. You can also study intelligent packaging. Okay, so these are the topics you can refer to in this chapter 2. Okay, so let's get into the questions. So we are going to discuss some important MCQ questions and let's solve the questions. Okay, so this is the part 1 of the video and other parts will be uploaded in few days. So let's start the question. The first question is, which of the following statements are right? So we have given two statements. The statement 1 is air cooling leads to loss of moisture and reduced weight and also wilting of crops. So they are talking about air cooling and this leads to loss of moisture and reduced weight. So what is the second point? The second point is vacuum cooling. So vacuum cooling are suitable for lettuce and spinach. Okay, so lettuce and spinach vacuum cooling are suitable. So first of all, we need to understand this question. There are two important statements in this question and we need to know whether it is right or wrong. So first let's discuss the air cooling. See, air cooling involves passing the refrigerated air over the products. Okay, over the product. So we are passing the refrigerated air over the product. So this can lead to the reduced weight because obviously the product is contacting with the air which loses the moisture. Hence we can say the yield is reduced. The yield is reduced. So and wilting of crops will occur because of air cooling. Okay, so that's why the first statement is right. What about the second statement? What is vacuum cooling? First of all, it involves placing the crops in a sealed chamber and reducing the air pressure using a vacuum pump. So this is the vacuum cooling, right? So we are reducing the air pressure inside the sealed chamber. So that's what vacuum comes. So how it do the cooling? See, this is very simple. That difficult to see. For example, when you reduce the vacuum air pressure in the pump, what happens is the sprayed water. Okay, so you have to spray the water. When the pressure is reduced, evaporative cooling will rapidly lower the temperature throughout the crop. So because of the reduced pressure, the evaporative cooling occurs and it reduces the temperature of the crop. So that's why lettuce and spinach we are using it. Okay, so see, we in suppose let's say we are using this lettuce and spinach like that are difficult to cool with water and air. Because why it is so? Because it can easily damage and the structure will be like easily, like in home we used to clean it with the water only, but in general if you are doing for the bigger scale, it is not that suitable. So that's why air cooling and vacuum cooling, both of the points are right. So the answer is A. Both A and B are right. So next question. Dash cooling is particularly suitable for foods that have larger volume in relation to their surface area. So here the next point is it has huge surface area. Okay, it has large volume. Then what type of cooling you will prefer? So the simple answer is C, hydrocooling. See, not vacuum or air cooling, because both of them will get affected because of the surface area and large volume, right? But in case of hydrocooling, it will be effectively using. So that's why hydrocooling is the answer. When the food are sprayed or submerged in chilled water at 1.5 degrees Celsius, which is recirculated throughout the refrigeration unit. To reduce the risk of microbial infection and reduce circulated water is added with chlorine or ozone to reduce the contamination. So that's the hydrocooling. So that's how we will cool the food which has larger surface area or larger volume. So next question. Which of the following food whose rate of CO2 emission is extremely high? Which means, see, the CO2 emission in different products will vary. Okay. So this is depend on like the product's temperature, how much temperature you are keeping a product and relative humidity and all. In general, which has the highest CO2 emission? So we have like come up with 4 options: broccoli, Brussels sprouts, strawberry, and banana. Which of them is extremely high in CO2 emission? So the answer is broccoli. Okay, so the answer is broccoli. Let's see the chart. See, you can see the sum of the products which has extreme rate of CO2 emission. Okay, asparagus, broccoli, mushroom, peas, spinach, and sweet corn. Okay, see here, because of the extreme rate of CO2, the typical storage like lifetime is being reduced. As you can see, it is very much lower compared to all other products. Okay, so when the rate of CO2 is decreasing, then typical storage of shelf life is increasing. Okay, so it's actually increasing. So that's why we need to understand that this rate of CO2 is inversely proportional to the storage life. Okay, and you need to know what are some important products which has very low like rate of CO2 emission. First is nuts and dates, and which is a very high: asparagus, broccoli, mushroom, peas, spinach, and sweet corn. Okay, so the answer is A, broccoli. So next question. See, so before like getting to the question, okay, I just wanted to explain few things. Okay, so first is, see, we cannot not all fruits and vegetables can be cooled down to lower temperature, right? See, we cannot cool down, like I have mentioned 1.5 like here, like that is the temperature which I have mentioned here for hydrocooling. But can we cool this amount of temperature for each and every product? No, we cannot. So not all fruits and vegetables can be cooled down to low temperature. Okay, so then what is the problem? Because some tropical, or we can say subtropical suffer from chilling injury. Okay, so then what is the temperature for chilling injury? First of all, what is chilling injury? See, chilling injury means the product will suffer a serious damage. I will explain what are the damages. And most of the time, the chilling injury temperatures is between 3 to 10 degrees Celsius. Because if you lower that, it is not considered chilling injury, it is a freezing injury. So for chilling injury, it is 3 to 10 degrees Celsius. So what are the injuries which occurs during this chilling? So the first is browning. Okay, so you can experience browning and discoloration. Okay, because of the chilling injury, you can experience browning, discoloration, and off flavor. Okay, then excessive softening. Okay, this is an important point: excessive softening. And then there are many other things which is related to this. For example, one such example is which is not directly an injury. For example, increase in sugar. This we have studied in many like cases. Increase in sugar amount. This is particularly happen in potato. Okay, this is not itself an injury, but this is possesses a like serious problem during frying. Why? because of the caramelization, we get the discoloration. Okay, so the color will be very much in dark when we do the frying of potatoes, for example, chips and all. So that's why even in increasing increasing in sugar content is not suitable for certain products. I have given you example of potato. It is not considered as an injury, but still this possesses a basic damage to a product, right? Okay, so let's get back to the topic. Gray color discoloration of flesh is a symptom of chilling injury in which of the following crop? I have given you the example of increase in sugar amount. Now I have asked which is the gray color discoloration of flesh will happen in chilling injury. So we have four options: grape, lemon, avocados, and pineapple. See, when you see this question, your immediate response will go to grape because of the direct connection between gray and grape. But no, it is not the proper answer. So the right answer is actually avocado. Okay, so you should read the question carefully. So the gray color discoloration of flesh will happens in avocado. So let's see how it is. See, avocados, when you lower the temperature of 15 to 13, it is the lowest safe storage temperature, which means if you are not keeping between this, like if you are reducing below this, for example, these are the safest temperature. If you go to 4 degrees Celsius, then it will attain the chilling injury. Okay, then it will produce a gray discoloration of flesh. Okay, so this is a safe storage temperature, which means this temperature is safest. 10 degrees Celsius is safest for gray food, but if you go below 9, then it will create a brown scaled and very watery breakdown of gray food. So you need to understand, like these are really important because this determines the quality of product. Okay, so if you have if someone is running a fruit shop, then they should definitely know this. Even if they are running any industry which produces any juice or something, then they also have to keep the inventory storage based on the specific safe lower temperature. Otherwise they have to face the chilling injury. Okay, so yeah, so that's the answer. So I wanted to discuss few things. So like these are really tough things to study, but I'll give you some of the important fruits and vegetables, different storage requirements. Okay, this might be helpful even for FSO examinations and many other examinations. So what are the different storage requirements? Different storage requirements. So this storage requirements is based on two things. One is the temperature, obviously, and the second one is the relative humidity. So based on these two factors, we are going to divide. So we are going to divide into many group. So let's say this call this as group 1, then group 2, then group 3, then group 4, 5, group 6. We are going to divide it into 7 groups. Okay, so group 6 and group 7. Let's start with the very first group, group 1. So in this group, we have 0 to 2 degrees Celsius. So all the first 3 groups, we have to keep 0 to 2 degrees Celsius. So these are the requirements. You have to keep it at the specific temperature and relative humidity. Otherwise, the specific fruits or vegetables will be spoiled. Okay. So the first 3 groups, the temperature is same, 0 to 2, 0 to 2, 0 to 2. But the relative humidity is different. In the first one, it is 90 to 95. Okay, relative humidity, and 95 to 100. Okay, then it's actually 65 to 75%. Yeah, 65 to 75% of relative humidity. Okay, so from the group 4, we have to increase the temperature. First is 4.5 degrees Celsius. Okay, then increase it further, 10. Then increase further, 13 to 15. Then this is the final biggest temperature increase, which is 18 to 21 degrees Celsius. Okay, so let's talk about the relative humidity. The relative humidity is 90 to 95 here. Okay, 90 to 95, and relative humidity of these three is same. Okay, relative humidity of these three is same, which is 85 to 90, 85 to 90, and 85 to 90. Okay, So let's talk about different crops. Okay, different. First of all, apple will come here in the group one. I'll tell you only the important like fruits and vegetables in the section. So you should know important crops under the section. So first one is apple, then apricot, then beet, then mushroom. Okay, then pomegranate, then peaches. Okay. So these are come under the group one, and the group two is really simple. It's just berries. All the berries will come under the group two, and cabbage, cauliflower, and then broccoli. Even cherries will come under this group. So this is one of the famous group, and it is easiest to remember. Okay, cherries, grapes, and then lettuce and spinach. So this is easy to remember. See, there is one exception. There is only one berry will not come under this group 2. That specific berry is called as cranberries. Okay. So cranberries will come under the group 4. Okay. Along with cranberries, we have the other important things is lemon, lychee, and orange. So the main citrus fruits are in the group 4. And group 3 is the easiest to remember. It is garlic and onion. Only these two. Garlic, onion. Okay. See, here we don't need to maintain any relative humidity. So that's why these two are important. Okay. That's why we cannot keep this in a more humid environment. We have to keep it in the like we should keep it outside. Like basically we should not keep it in the closed containers which has high humidity. For example, you should not keep it in the kitchen. Obviously the relative humidity of the kitchen is little bit higher, so you cannot keep it there. So next is group 5 to group 5, group 6 and group 7. See these three group, you can see the temperature is actually higher, which means mostly these are the groups which is prone to chilling injury. Because in fridge, if you keep any fruits or vegetables in the fridge, mostly is going to be in this range only 0.0 to 2 to 4.5 and all. So if you're keeping any of these group 5, 6 and 7 vegetables in the fridge, it will cause chilling injury. So you cannot keep this in the food, in the freezers or in the freezer or in the fridge. So that is the first point. And let's discuss the products also. So the products are pretty much similar ones only. Like first of all, eggplant, okra, and then olives will come under this. This is okra, and olives will come under this, and then pepper. And guys, this is really important. Potato, and it is 10 degrees Celsius. Remember it. Potato will come under this. Even cucumber is one of the kind. So some people will keep the cucumbers in the fridge. Please don't. It will cause chilling injury. So this will come under the group 5. And group 6 is the other important one. First one is coconut. Okay, we should not keep coconut. And then grape. Then mango. Okay, pineapple. And then ripe tomato. And then many other, even guava will come under this. And then ginger will come under this. Okay, ginger. So that's the group 6. And the final important group 7 is first one is sweet potato. Okay, sweet potato. So that is the very first thing which you cannot keep. And the second one is watermelon. Okay, and then next is yams. And then green, it's not it's not ripe tomato, it is like that unripened green tomato, unripened tomato or green tomato, whatever it is. So yeah, so these are the different storage requirements. This can be asked in a different way. For example, I can ask what is the temperature for potato, like chilling injury temperature for potato, and they can ask the relative humidity. And like they will ask whether we should keep on garlic and onion like in high humidity or low humidity, which means answer is low. Okay, so yeah, so this is how the questions will be framed. Okay, so I guess you have studied this. And let's discuss one important point. See, I have told you previously that like in certain cases we cannot keep the food in the cold temperature, right? We have just discussed. What happens is, see, if they are if we have high air speed, okay, if you have high air speed, then that means this will leads to weight loss of weight. This we have seen in the air cooling. Okay, so first of all, let's see why high air speed will lose to lots of weight. This will happen because of one term called evaporation. Okay, so in order to omit this, what we'll do, like if we want to stop the evaporation, what we'll do, we will increase the relative humidity, right? We will increase, see if you are keeping the food in the high air speed, then obviously you have to give high relative humidity, because otherwise if you didn't give high relative humidity, the product will go to like the product will evaporate it. So that's why we have to increase the relative humidity. Okay, but if you increase the relative humidity, what is the effect of that? Moisture growth. Moisture will condense, and that condensed moisture, because of you are giving high relative humidity, okay, because of that the growth of mold will be occurs. Growth of mold or bacteria will occur on a food. It will occur on the surface, because this moisture contents will happen on the surface, right? So in surface of the food, this growth of bacteria or mold will come. So that's why instead of increasing relative humidity, we have to simply slow down the speed. You have to simply slow down the speed. And what is the speed? It is actually 0.5 meter per second. This is ideal for almost all the vegetables, okay, all the vegetables and fruits. And what is the relative humidity for that? Relative humidity is 90%. If you increase the 90 to 95, mold growth or bacteria growth will occur. So slow speed and 90% relative humidity is the way to prevent a food from spoiling. Okay. Okay. So next question. Fatty fish like herring should be kept at dash degree Celsius and for how many days? Okay, so we have given a food product name called herring. So first of all, let's discuss in general. Okay, in general, how many days, what is the ideal temperature we keep in a food? First of all, let's discuss this. What is the ideal temperature? See, the ideal temperature is -1 degree Celsius according to FSSS regulation. Okay, -1 to 1. Okay, so if we keep in a -1 degree Celsius, what is the shelf life? The shelf life is actually 21 days for beef. Okay, and 7 to 21 days for veal. This is easy to remember. 21 days and 7 to 21 days. Then 10 to 15 days for lamb and goat. Okay, then 7 to 14 days for pork, and then 7 days for offal, and finally 5 days for rabbit meat. So this is the shelf life. You cannot keep more than this. Only this type of shelf life will occurs only if you have this 1 degree Celsius at the temperature -1 to 1. So if you have this -1 to 1 degree Celsius range, then you can keep it for this many days. Let's talk about the fish. See, in fish, most of the times what you will do is we will keep in 1 to 2 degrees Celsius. Okay, that only with ice only. You have to dip it in the ice. And the shelf life of the fish will vary. And in general, most of the fish is 10 to 20 days. Okay, it's higher, 10 to 20 days. But in case of the fatty fish, so here they have given fatty fish, which means it has high amount of fat, and example is herring. So in case of fatty fish, temperature is actually only 4. See, the temperature is same 1 to 2 degrees Celsius, but the days of shelf life is 4 to 6 days. You have to keep it for only 4 to 6 days. And finally, the seafood. The important seafoods like the shrimp, and then prawns and crab and all. So they have the shelf life of like same 4 to 6 days, but you have to keep it in the 0 degree Celsius. So this is the only difference. In both of the fish and fatty fish, this is 1 to 2 degrees Celsius. But in case of seafood, it's 0 degree Celsius. Sometimes what happens is they won't even kill the seafood. They will keep it alive. They will keep it alive. And whenever we have to, like, let's say sell the fish, that time only they will kill the shrimp or crab or whatever. So that's why we cannot determine a specific shelf life for this, but we can keep it at 0 degree Celsius, and we can keep the shrimp or crab living. So when it time, then we can kill them and give it to them. So that's it. So these are the important questions. So let's come back to this question, and what is the answer? The answer is 1 to 2 degrees Celsius, because it's fish. Both fish and fatty fish is 1 to 2 degrees Celsius. And for fatty fish, it's not 10 or 20, it is 4 to 6. So the answer is A. Okay. So these are the some of the examples of contaminants and its examples and its potential sources where it came from. Okay. So I'll leave this to you. Like, you should take a screenshot and study this. Actually, I didn't ask any questions from this because it is obviously this is like easily you can study this. There is no need to put more focus on this. You have already studied this, so I just simply script this topic, but you have to at least well known with this topic. So the questions from PCB will might arise acrylamide, PCP and all. So you need to know what is an acrylamide. Okay. So the questions might arise from that. Like, if you heat the starchy food for a very high temperature, it will produce the acrylamide. So you need to know what is the application behind it and why we are doing it and how it causes the carcinogenic and all. So just study this whole table column. This will be really important. So next question. So this is an important question. So the question is, does carrying the foods by water in troughs over a series of wires used to clean small fruit peas? So in order to clean the small fruits and peas, there is a method which we will use. In that method, we will use the water, okay, in the troughs over a series of wires, and that will clean the fruit. So first of all, we need to understand the question. So it is a cleaning method. We need to know what is the cleaning method which will clean the small fruits and peas. That's it, simple. Let's discuss each and every question, each and every option. First, we have dewatering screens. So dewatering screens itself, we have a specific idea that this will remove or separate the washed water from the clean water. This will remove or separate, okay, from the washed water and clean water. So that's it. That's the dewatering screens. We are just screening the water. That's it. Simple, right? So this is not the answer for small fruits and peas. Okay, this is not the proper way to clean it. So next is fluming. So is this right? Yes. Fluming is the right answer. Fluming means carrying the food by the water in the troughs over a series of wires and used to clean the small fruits and peas. So what is a turbulent washing? Turbulent washing means a vigorous scrubbing. We are going to do the scrubbing first of all. Scrubbing of food. Okay, scrubbing of food will happen. And there is a two important things which we need to know. There is something called calm zone. Because this scrubbing will done in a vigorous manner. Vigorous manner. Okay. So this will be done in a very fast manner. Then we have to give something called some calm zone. Okay. So why we have to give the calm zone? Because it allows to settle. Allow to settle the fine particles. Okay. So this scrubbing, we cannot do it to the small fruits and peas. So this is also wrong. And fourth flotation. Fourth flotation is a similar concept. First of all, let's divide this into two. Fourth and flotation. Flotation means it is based on density. Based on the density, the fruits will float or contaminants will float. Sometimes the contaminants will sink or the fruits will float. So based on the density, we are dividing. That's the rotation. What is a fourth? Fourth means foam. Okay. During the fourth flotation, what happens is the small dust, if it is floats, if the small dust is floats, that dust will be entrapped in the foam. That dust will be entrapped in the foam. So once we have removed the foam, we can get a clean fruit. So that is the fourth flotation. We are using two concepts. One is the flotation and the second one is the fourth. Using these two combinations, we are getting a finally cleaned product because of the both density and the foam. Okay. Finally, spray washing. Spray washing means there are two types of spray washing. One is in the drum spray washing, which means it will be rotated kind of like this. So there will be a rotation happening in the drum. And the second one is belt conveyor. Belt conveyor is similarly like there will be a conveyor belt and we will keep the foot in the top of the surface, and there will be a spray in the top, so it will clean the product. So either from belt conveyor or drum or through drum we can clean the spray washing foods. So basically this spray washing will be done in the larger food which has higher shelf life, higher surface area and all. So good example is potato. This is larger fruit. First of all, this is for larger fruits and vegetables, larger food. So this is also not the option. So the answer is actually fuming. So I hope you have studied all the different types of cleaning methods. Okay, so this is wet cleaning. I didn't include the dry cleaning. You can go through this. So I have explained all these things in detail. So next is colloidal milk consists of dash and dash. Simple question. And the answer is simple. It consists of two types of milling unit. One is the stationary unit. Second is a rotating unit. So it consists of two units, stator and rotator. So let me explain these things in detail. Okay. So the question is simple. Colloidal milk consists of what? Let me explain this. First of all, what is a colloidal milk? Okay. So we need to before getting to the colloidal milk, let's discuss what is a colloidal milk. It is a disc mill. Okay, it is a disc mill. So there will be a one vertical disc. Okay, that vertical disc is stationary in one side. Okay, and rotating in other side. Then what is the speed of the rotation? It is actually 3000 to 1500 RPM. One disc is stationary and other disc is rotating. Now we will keep the foot in between and this will create a high shear force. High shear force. So this is specifically used for viscous material. Okay, viscous material. So let me give you a very good example of that, which is peanut butter. Okay, which is peanut butter. Okay, so because see, we are creating a viscous material here, right? So this can also be called as paste mill because this will create some kind of paste out of it. So obviously shear and tear is not the proper answer. Rubbing and impact is also not the proper answer. Coarse and microfiltration is not the proper answer. We have stator and rotor. All these applications will not apply to the paste format. So that's why the simple answer is stator and rotor. Okay, so let's get into the next question. In food industry, DAS is widely used to determine this particle size distribution in granular materials and powders. So the question is, we need to know what is the specific techniques which we use to distribute the particle size and granular materials. First is sieving, aspiration and flotation, photodetector, and acoustic firmness sensor. Okay, so let's answer this question. First of all, we have already discussed this aspiration and flotation. Flotation we have discussed it. It is because of density. Aspiration is also because of weight. So this we can say this as a weight sorting. Okay, weight sorting. Okay, and photodetector is based on color. So this is color sorting. Okay, so here they have asked granular and powders. Wait, so is it a good way to use some kind of aspiration or flotation for the granular materials and powders? No, you cannot do that, right? So that's why the option B is wrong itself. And the third option is color sorting. That itself wrong. And acoustic firmness sensor, which means we are see this is like based on one principle. Acoustic means sound waves. We are using sound waves to determine the firmness. Okay, this will sort the fruit based on the firmness, juice content, and freshness. Because like this is a simple example. Whenever we used to get the watermelon, we used to tap the watermelon. Like same for the coconut also, right? Because if the watermelon is firm, we can able to hear the like the vibration in the other side. So that's how we can get to know the acoustic firmness sensor. But these three is not the answer. Sieving is the proper answer. Let me explain the sieving in detail first of all. So we can say this as a sieving or screening or size sorting. Okay. So let's discuss this. So first of all, screening means which is used on the powder. Okay. And why we have to do the screening in the powder? To remove the contaminants. Because the contaminants has either higher like higher size or lower size. Sometimes it is higher in case like some kind of remove dust, soil, and then some rocks. We can easily separate the powder from this dust separate and rocks by sieving method, right? And in case of screening, it is this is actually separate based on size. Okay, screening is also based on size, but here is a twist. In this one we will use a disc sorter. We are using a specific disc which has some pores in it. Okay, and it can be either same flatbed or drum, like which we have seen earlier. In washing we have seen two types of washing, like one is the conveyor washing and the second one is the drum washing, right? So here also same, it can be either flat or it can be in a drum. So in case of drum it will rotate and easily we can eliminate the bigger size particles. In case of flatbed we have to do the vibration to separate the normal the products which we need, like for example the grains and the other powders with the bigger objects like the stones and other things. And size sorting we already know, these are the size sorting. We can even sort the size with the different other equipments, but in this specific case it is considered as sieving. For granular materials and powders it is considered as sieving, so the option is A. So next question, abrasion peeling is used for what? Okay, so question is pretty simple. It is used for root crop, shrimp, onion, and fruits. Obviously we know the right answer, it is root crops. Why? See, in abrasion peeling we will use two things. One is a silicon carbide. Okay, we will use the silicon carbide and there will be a roller attached to it. So this silicon carbide and the roller will create an abrasion force. So that can able to clean the root crops from dust and soil. Okay, so that's why this is a first answer is a right answer. But let's discuss what is for the other types of peeling. For example, shrimp will be peeled using knife. So knife peeling, this is a knife peeling, manual knife peeling. Okay, so for shrimp we'll use a manual knife peeling to remove the outer layers and the dust and the other materials, unimportant materials in the shrimp. In case of onion we will use the flame peeling. In case of fruits, same we will use a knife peeling only, but in this case it is not a manual. Either there will be one stationary blade attached to it and the fruits will be rotating. So the fruits will be rotating and the stationary blade attached to it. So once the fruits has contact with the stationary blade, it will peel the skin. It will peel the skin. So this you have seen in many Instagram reels or many other YouTube videos. So this is like self-explanatory. So in this case it is manual, but in this case of fruits it is actually not in manual. We can use it, we can use a like sophisticated instruments for that. So the answer for abrasion peeling is root crops. So next question. So this is a little bit tricky questions. A boundary region formed between the liquids during centrifugation, if the purpose is to remove the light liquid from the mass heavier liquid, causes what? So the question is confusing. Let me tell you what it is. See, during centrifugation, okay, during the centrifugation, what happens is there will be a boundary layer. Okay, let's consider this boundary layer, boundary region as an in-between region. Okay, which is formed between a lighter liquid, this is light, and a heavier liquid, and this is heavy. So this boundary region will create between a light and a heavy liquid. Okay, so this boundary region will be an inside like will be a middle region between these two regions. I have asked you, what if you remove some of the lighter region? If you remove some of the lighter region, then this middle region will shrink or it will increase. So that's my question. This zone is called as neutral zone. Okay, so either this will reduce or this will increase, or there will be no change, or there will be a new zone which will arise. So that is the question. So let me explain this in a simpler manner. Okay, so when let me explain what is a centrifugation. So centrifugation. So the application of centrifugation is pretty simple, right? There is a two important applications for the centrifugation. The very first one is separate immiscible liquids. Okay, if we can able to separate the immiscible liquid, okay, one such equipment is bowl centrifuge. In bowl centrifuge we can remove the immiscible liquids, right? And the second application is solid from liquid. We are removing the solid from the liquid. Okay, and the third one is solid. We are removing the solid from air. Okay, so this is actually the example of cyclone separator. Okay, this is actually the example of cyclone separation. So see, if you want to separate a solid from the liquid, what is the role? We need to create hydrostatic pressure. Okay, we need to create something called hydrostatic pressure between the liquids. Okay, so let's say if we want to separate between two liquids, okay, one is a liquid 1, this is liquid 2. If you want to separate like these two liquids, what we'll do is see, if the hydrostatic pressure is equal, if we can able to create a pressure using the centrifugation, now if suppose the pressure is equal, then it will create a neutral zone, the one which I have talked about. Okay, then what happened, the liquid 1 is a lighter liquid, the liquid 2 is the heavier liquid or denser liquid. Okay, so if you remove the lighter liquid, then it will reduce the neutral zone, because the neutral zone will not be stabilized. Okay, see, like one such example is cream. Cream is actually less dense, right? So if you remove the cream from the milk, the neutral zone will reduce. In the same time, here let's hear, if you are removing the heavier liquid, okay, the neutral zone will increase, because in this case the bond between the neutral zone and heavier zone is removed, so that's why it is expanding the neutral zone. Okay, so what's the example for that? In case water, if you want to remove the water from oil, okay, so which is water is a denser substance. So if suppose if you want to remove it, then the neutral zone will increase. So in this question, I have asked you, in case if you are removing the light liquid from the mass or heavy liquid, so what happens? We are removing the lighter liquid, which means we are reducing the neutral zone, right? Okay. So next question. So in this question, I haven't given you any options because you should know it. So the question is supercritical fluid extraction. So supercritical fluid extraction. So here we are using the solvent CO2. First of all, the supercritical fluid extraction solvent is CO2. In order to achieve this solvent, we need to give critical temperature and pressure, which means at particular temperature and critical pressure, this CO2, this solvent CO2 will become a supercritical fluid solvent. That solvent is used for the extraction. Okay, so I'm asking you what is the temperature and the pressure. Okay, simple question. So the answer is actually the critical temperature is 31.06 degrees Celsius and the pressure is 7.38 megapascal. Okay, in some cases what happens is in gate exams and all, they won't give you the specific temperature, they will give you in Kelvin. Okay, they will give you in Kelvin. So if in case if they have asked you in Kelvin, how you will calculate, you will calculate this by 273.15 plus this temperature 31.06, which means it is 304 something 304 Kelvin, right? So the critical temperature is 304 Kelvin. Or if suppose they have asked in Fahrenheit, then the formula is C into 9 by 5 plus 32, which means 31 into 9 by 5 plus 32, which means it will come around something like 87.9 or 88 degree Fahrenheit. Okay, so the critical temperature is 31.06, 304 or 88.7, sorry, 88 Fahrenheit or 87.9 Fahrenheit. And the pressure is 7.38 megapascal. So this is the critical temperature and the pressure. So this will come under the extraction topic. So I have just asked you this question. So next question. What is the driving forces in the membrane separation? So during the membrane separation, what is the driving force? So basically, I will explain this. There are two types of force. One is hydrostatic pressure difference. Hydrostatic pressure. So using the hydrostatic pressure, we can, like the pressure difference, we can create a separation. So one such example is, we can say RO, reverse osmosis, and then like there are many other filtration, right? Nano filtration, ultra filtration, micro filtration, and per evaporation. All those things will be hydrostatic pressure system. So in certain cases, we don't need this hydrostatic pressure. In case if we have the concentration difference, okay, if the concentration difference is there, concentration difference is the driving factor. Okay, if the concentration difference is there, what are the examples for this? One such good example is ion exchange. Ion exchange and electrodialysis. Electrodialysis and ion exchange is the concentration difference. Okay, so based on these two specific driving forces, we can create a membrane separation. Okay, so here answer: osmotic pressure, electric field, and partial pressure. All three are responsible for the membrane separation, irrespective of which instrument. All of these three pressures can be used as a driving force. Okay, so answer is actually all of the above. So next question, HLB value is lower than it is, like what, like the question is simple. So in which certain cases, there are three cases given: water in oil emulsion, strongly lipophilic, oil solubility. So which of the following case the HLB value is lower than, like which means the HLB value is reduced. Okay, so that is a question. So let's explain this question. So here also we are going to discuss about emulsification. Okay, emulsification, which is simply an opposite. opposite role of centrifugation. Because in centrifugation, we want to separate. In emulsification, we want to mix it properly. Okay, so basically this emulsification is a mechanical energy. It is a mechanical energy. We wanted to mix it properly. It's a mechanical energy. Okay, so what are this emulsification? See, this emulsification will form a mistless around each droplets. I'll explain this. Each droplet in dispersed phase. In the dispersed phase. Okay, and there are two important concepts for this. First of all, let me tell you what is this. See, when you do this emulsification, there is a like already like we cannot mix something which is in a same state. For example, if the two liquids are there, okay, then it is difficult to mix between the two liquids because of the their polar nature and all, right? So what happens is we are going to create a missiles around it in the dispersed phase so that they can able to combine with one another. Okay, so to explain this, there are two concepts. One is the polar and another one is the non-polar. See, in a specific, let's say if there is a product, if there is a product and that products can able to bind with water, then that product is called as hydrophilic, right? Or the other name is polar. If there is a product and the product is can able to bind with oil, then it is called as lipophilic. Lipophilic. In a liquid, in a emulsification, we have the balance between the hydrophilic and lipophilic. It is called as HLB. Because let's take an example of water. Let's take an example of milk. Milk has both of these things. Milk has water and milk also has fat. So we need to attain the hydrophilic lipophilic balance. It is called as hydrophilic lipophilic balance. Okay, so how to attain this balance? Actually, the nature of emulsification itself is to attain the balance only. Okay, and there is a many way to find it. First of all, we need to know whether this product is lipophilic or hydrophilic. Okay, for example, if I have a product which is suppose, let's say if I have a butter and in one case I have the water with me, so I can easily say the water is hydrophilic and the butter is lipophilic, but that's not enough. Okay, we should know what is the range of hydrophilic and lipophilic this. So to find out the range, we need the hydrophilic lipophilic balance. So let's make the range. The range is actually 0 to 20. Okay, the range is 0 to 20. So from 0 to 6, from 6 to 12, and then 12 to 20. Let's divide it like this. And first let's talk about the 0 to 6. The 0 to 6 is strongly lipophilic. If the HLB value is 0 to 6, then it is strongly lipophilic. Okay, then we can also this is as water in oil emulsion. We can make water in oil emulsion. Okay, if this is 12 to 20, then it is strongly hydrophilic. It is strongly hydrophilic. Okay, if it is a strongly hydrophilic, then we can say it is oil in water emulsion. In certain cases, we don't get strongly hydrophilic and we don't get strongly lipophilic. It will lie between 6 to 12. Those things are called as detergents and solubilizer, because that can go either way. So that's why it can easily able to wash anything. So that's why detergents and solubilizer will lie between 6 to 12 in hydrophilic and lipophilic balance. So in this question, I have asked you HLB value is lower. In what cases? Water in oil emulsion? Yes, that's right. Strongly lipophilic, yes, that is also right. And oil solubility is right. So the answer is actually all of the above. This is a tricky question. Most of the people will go for the either water in oil emulsion or strongly lipophilic, but the answer is actually all of the above, because all 3 points state the similar thing, that HLB value is lower. Okay, yeah, HLB value is lower. So that is a single statement which proves all these 3 points. So the answer is actually all of the above. Okay, so that's it for the part one. Let's discuss the part two.